Houses today are sleek, smart, and full of modern gadgetry, but design choices in the 70s? Ooh, baby, that was a different ballgame altogether. Join me today as we break down some of the weirdest design choices and philosophies of the 70s. Hidden beneath nostalgia's glow lies a decade of questionable design choices. Nothing screams the 1970s more than shag carpeting. Thick, high pile, and boldly colored, it was a fixture in countless homes. Families would sink their feet into it, believing that it added a sense of luxury and comfort to living rooms, bedrooms, and even hallways. Oh, the texture was soft, but it was also notorious for trapping everything. We're talking dust, crumbs, pet hair, and smells that no vacuum could ever fully conquer. Manufacturers marketed shag as glamorous, tying it to images of celebrities lounging in plush dens or stylish young couples decorating their first homes. For a minute, it worked, and it even became a status symbol, a sign that you were keeping up with the decade's bold trends. But as the years moved on, reality set in. Cleaning was a nightmare, stains were permanent, and the once vibrant colors faded into dingy reminders of a fad gone horribly wrong. By the 1980s, shag carpeting was no longer chic. It became a punchline, a decorating mistake people were desperate to rip out and get rid of. Now, if the carpets didn't shock you, oh, the kitchens, they certainly will. Few images capture the essence of the 70s design aesthetic better than kitchens drenched in avocado green and harvest gold. These earth tones were marketed as natural, calming, and modern, meant to bring the warmth of nature indoors. Refrigerators, stoves, and even dishwashers arrived in these shades, matched by cabinets and countertops that turned entire rooms into monotone green or mustard yellow boxes. At first, it felt daring and stylish. Families proudly showed off their modern kitchens as the height of suburban sophistication. But as trends shifted, these bold choices revealed their downside. Unlike neutral whites or timeless stainless steel, avocado and harvest gold aged poorly. The tones dulled over time, making kitchens appear dark, dated, and heavy. By the 1980s, what once felt trendy had become a design nightmare. People tore out cabinets, repainted appliances, and joked about the ugly kitchens they grew up with. Now, these colors are remembered fondly by some, but mostly as icons of regrettable design choices. Look before you leap, because the 70s, living rooms had levels. The conversation pit, also known as the sunken living room, was a bold architectural statement in the 70s. Designers envisioned it as the ultimate social space, a recessed area filled with wraparound couches where family and friends could gather closer together. The lowered floor created intimacy, a kind of built-in stage where people could laugh, debate, or watch television from a cozy nest. Architects loved the clean lines and futuristic look. Magazines praised the pits as sleek, modern, and sophisticated. Kinda like symbols of progressive design that broke away from the boxy living rooms of the past. But reality had other plans. The drop created constant safety hazards, especially for kids and older family members. Drinks spilled, ankles twisted, and anybody walking without paying attention risked an embarrassing tumble. By the 1980s, practicality had worn out over style. Builders stopped including them in new homes, and many homeowners filled them in. Today, they survive mostly in retro photos as icons of beauty and danger combined. And when it was time to leave the pit, you couldn't help but notice the walls. If there was one design choice that defined 1970s basements and dens, it was wood paneling. Entire rooms were wrapped floor to ceiling in thin faux wood sheets, giving homes a cabin-like atmosphere no matter where you lived. At the time, it was marketed as affordable sophistication, easy to install, warm in tone, and perfect for transforming a plain room into something stylish. Families gathered in paneled dens to watch television, play games, or host neighbors, all while surrounded by the deep browns and oranges of the decade. But the charm didn't last. Unlike real wood, paneling quickly revealed its flaws. The finish peeled, the panels warped, and what once felt cozy began to feel dark and confining. Light also barely reflected off the walls, making rooms seem smaller and more claustrophobic. By the 1980s, the trend was mocked as tacky and cheap. Homeowners ripped it out in droves, replacing it with lighter paints and drywall. Today, wood paneling lives on mostly as a punchline in retro nostalgia or in minivans. But for true 70s flair, nothing quite topped the basement party scene. The 70s were all about fun, and nowhere was that clearer than in the suburban craze for built-in bars and recreational rooms. Homeowners carved out basement corners for full cocktail setups, complete with mirrored walls, glass shelves, and neon signs. Some even added disco lights and jukeboxes, transforming ordinary houses into makeshift nightclubs. It was a bold attempt to bring the excitement of nightlife home without the drive into town. Families entertained neighbors with cocktails shaken behind curved counters, while kids played pinball or foosball a few feet away. Magazines praised these spaces as signs of prosperity and modern living, but that had a very short shelf life. By the 80s, mirrored walls felt gaudy and shag rugs and bars looked sloppy, and the whole setup seemed kinda tacky rather than classy. A lot of bars were dismantled, the rec rooms converted into family dens or storage. Today, photos of these sparkling basement bars are equal parts cringeworthy and charming symbols of a decade that loved to party hard. And if the basement felt pretty wild, the bathroom took things to another level. Bathrooms of the 70s were anything but subtle. Instead of today's neutral whites and grays, the decade reveled in bold hues. Think pink toilets, baby blue sinks, and tubs in shades of pea green or mustard yellow. Walking into one felt like stepping into a pastel rainbow, and for a brief moment, homeowners considered it modern and stylish. Manufacturers encouraged the craze, selling entire bathroom sets in matching colors so that every fixture coordinated perfectly. But the strangest choice of all was carpeting in bathrooms. Plush, moisture-absorbing rugs stretched wall-to-wall around tubs and toilets. The idea was to add comfort and warmth to an otherwise cold, tiled space. In practice, it became a disaster. Carpet absorbed water, smells, and stains, turning bathrooms into breeding grounds for mold and bacteria. What sounded cozy quickly proved unsanitary and hard to maintain. By the 1980s, homeowners had learned their lesson, ripping out colored fixtures and soggy carpets. Today, these bathrooms are remembered mostly with a mix of disbelief and humor. And just when homes couldn't get stranger, the future arrived indoors. The 1970s were obsessed with the idea of living in the future, and homes reflected that fascination with the wave of so-called futuristic gimmicks. I'm talking intercom systems popping up in hallways and kitchens. They promised instant communication across the house. In reality, they often crackled with static and broke down within a few years. Conversation couches curved, space-age seating designed for group chats looked sleek in magazines, but took up awkward amounts of space in real homes. And then came the appliances. Countertop gadgets with flashing lights, strange cooking contraptions, and even built-in stereo consoles hidden in walls. Every invention carried the same promise: life would feel high-tech and effortless. But the shine wore off rather quickly. Maintenance was expensive, functions were clunky, and the future aged far faster than expected. By the 1980s, most of these gimmicks were abandoned or straight ripped out, replaced by simpler, more reliable designs. Today, they stand as quirky reminders of a decade that dreamed big but delivered oddly. If you could bring back one strange 70s home feature, what would it be? Let us know in the comment section down below.